Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Colts Cast. We are here to talk about everything and anything Indianapolis Colts. My name is Eric Smith, co-host of the Colts Cast. Alongside me, as always, I have co-host Jamal Lawrence here.
Yo.
Yo, please be sure to follow us on social media. Twitter handle at the Colts Cast, Instagram at Colts Cast. Guys, we have exciting polls, cool highlight videos, anything in between. We post all that. We are live on there. YouTube, we just got that up recently. Go ahead and check us out on there. Just search the Colts Cast and you'll find our videos on there, not just the audio. So look, I'm a diehard Colts fan, but I'm going to keep it real with y'all today. Match up with the Cowboys. The 4-7-1 Indianapolis Colts and the 8-3 Dallas Cowboys meet at AT&T Stadium on Sunday night, 8:20 p.m. Eastern sharp. I've watched this line, for the gamblers out there, I've watched this line move more into the Cowboys' favor. It's looking like, I think it started out at like 9 points maybe. I think we're up to 11 now.
Jesus.
Yeah, so people are hammering that line. And why wouldn't they? Because after we just made Kenny Pickett and the Steelers look like a contender. Jamal, what is your bold prediction for this game?
Wow. Okay. I want to say it's going to be, well, I know it's going to be a blowout. I just, it's hard though because, you know, Colts always find a way whenever it's a good team to at least entertain us a little bit. We saw it against the Chiefs. We saw it against the Eagles. Why not entertain us a little bit against the Eagles, against the Cowboys? But I know it won't happen. Multiple reasons why. But before we go down that rabbit hole, I'm just going to go ahead and bet my score for the game. 34-10. 34-10.
34-10.
Yep.
We're going to put up 10 points on this defense?
I think we're going to get lucky with a touchdown. And, of course, I feel like we get a field goal every game. Some luck is going to happen with a touchdown. I know that much. I don't know whether it's going to be a defensive takeaway, the right time, or just JT with a big breakaway run. But we'll get one touchdown and one field goal if we're lucky.
I think we'll put up 6 points.
Oh, that's fair. 2 field goals.
No, you're right. We'll add a touchdown.
All right.
Just for giggles there. 13. Cowboys are probably going to put up, I would say, close to 30 points on us.
Yeah.
So we'll put a little 26 piece in there.
Okay.
26-13. Doesn't sound like a huge blowout, but it definitely could go the other way. We saw what they did to the Vikings. 40-3.
The players and starters didn't even play, the entire fourth quarter?
Man.
They would have beat them by even worse.
Scary to think about. But what is the scariest part to you about this game?
I'm glad you asked. Micah Parsons, 12 sacks on the season. That scares me like none other. DeMarcus Lawrence, 6 sacks on the season. That scares me because our O-line is terrible. Trayvon Diggs, 12 passes defended. That scares me because he's not letting stuff come his way. His percentage is pretty high. His catch percentage is actually pretty high. But also you have to remember that number's kind of skewed because he's not getting a lot of targets toward him. So, you know, if a couple players get a couple catches, it's going to be inflated. If they were throwing at him like they're going to do every other cornerback, then I can see that number being much, much, much lower. But not only does that scare me from the Cowboys, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Trayvon Diggs, but the Colts scare me with that on that same note because if we get to the red zone, for the season, we're averaging a touchdown on 45.45%. But in the last 3 games, we've been 50%. And even lower away, though. This is the number that truly scares me, Eric, and why I know that a touchdown is going to have to be lucky for us to get. When we're away this season, we're averaging a touchdown in the red zone 28.57% of the time. So between the defense and that 28.57%, that thing is going to self-implode. It's bound to happen.
Yeah. That defense is something to write home about. Because if you're not worried about it, I'm about to explain it to y'all. Look, the Cowboys average 4.1 sacks per game. Jamal just gave you a breakdown of all the players who are leading this team in sacks. He didn't even include Dorrance Armstrong with 8 sacks. I mean,
you're right.
This is a scary team when it comes to their pass rush. No other team averages more than 4 sacks a game. I repeat, no other team averages over 4 sacks a game. Sorry, I forgot to pop my beer, Gotta have a drink in me. Look, Micah Parsons, you guys know about that name. Scary guy. Probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Cowboys fans, they're just salivating right now at the chance to trample Matt Ryan behind that line. I'm being dead at. This is what Cowboys fans have been telling me all this week. They said Matt Ryan is in, and he going to be out at the end of the game. Bernard Raymond and Will Fries, you guys are truly going to be NFL tested on Sunday night. I'm not too worried about the veterans, Ryan Kelly, Quinn Nelson, Braden Smith, if he suits up. Yeah, I mean, we should still be worried. But I think compared to the 2 other guys, I think they can hold their own relatively. If Raymond plays like he did his last game, we may be okay. But 4.1 sacks per game. And I'm pretty sure we're one of the teams that lead the league in sacks taken, right? So the numbers speak for itself. They allow 17 points per game, good for second in the NFL behind San Francisco. It just gets scarier. You want me to keep going? Passing defense, number 1 in opponent passing yards per game. They've only allowed 177 yards per game through the air. How many yards is Matt Ryan going to be able to put up against this defense? I don't know. With the inexperience in our coaching staff. Number 3 in opponent's yards per pass attempt at 5.7. Trayvon Diggs. Jamal just touched on him. Looks like a shutdown corner this year. He's given the lockdown treatment to receivers like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown.
Can I add one note in there, Eric? All those people that you just mentioned are exceptional route runners at that, too. I just want to throw that out there. Exceptional route runners. So, against a decent route runner, I'm scared. Keep going.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson is arguably a top 2 receiver in the game. Jamar Chase, he's been on IR, but Jamar Chase is the real deal. A.J. Brown, he's been killing it with the Eagles when they do throw the ball. And he's just a monster receiver. So I think we can all agree these receivers are better. They're in a better offense. And they have a better QB throw into them. Enter Michael Pittman Jr. It's about to be a long night, Jamal. I am afraid. It is going to be a scary game. I know we said this against the Chiefs, and it turned out we won. That was week 3. We've seen a lot with this team, the inconsistencies, the broken offense, the firings. It just goes on and on and on. And that was also at home. We're on the road with the light shining on us. Things could get very rough. And it's scary.
It is scary. And honestly, man, I really think kind of what you touched on earlier, the score is not going to be a true indication of this game. I feel like if it's, garbage time, we may get a score then or whatever the case is. So the game may look a little closer than what it is. But from what we're seeing, I can't see that. You said they averaged 4 sacks. In case people forgot, you saw what Bill Belichick did against us. They put up 9 sacks against us. Judon had 3, Uche had 3, Bentley had 1. I mean, it was just anybody gets a sack. 12 quarterback hits. I understand, that was Sam in there. And of course, it's a inexperienced quarterback, young quarterback. So Belichick had his ways with him, et cetera, et cetera. But Sam actually had the ability to move a little bit. We're going to see a statue back there on Sunday night.
And that was under Frank Wright.
Yeah, under Frank Wright. Yep. I can imagine that the Cowboys will repeat exactly what the Patriots did and just send the heat all game long, because it doesn't matter if they have a linebacker sitting in the middle of the field. They can leave it open, because if their corners are shutting us down, we know Ryan's going to try to check down. Yeah, I'm sure they'll allow the check down to be there for JT or Jackson for a quick 2-3 yards, because they know they're going to come with the heat every single play. And it just makes me nervous. I just think that they'll just repeat exactly what the Patriots did and smoke Matt Ryan and just take him, like you said, take him down.
Yeah, they're going to try to rattle us early, bring the pressure, and they're going to be trying to force in these 3-and-outs, maybe some turnovers. You know, we're turnover prone. We love giving them away. Love giving them free possessions. But I'm wondering what we can do on our defense. So the Stephon Gilmore versus CeeDee Lamb matchup is intriguing. I expect Gilly Lock to shadow CeeDee Lamb. However, I also wouldn't be surprised to see defensive coordinators do this. They just like their corners to play one side of the field. So it'll be interesting to see what Gus Bradley does. But in the case of a pure shadow, they probably are going to attack the other side, our weak corner. Potentially weaker corner. Usually this is Kenny Moore. Now, Zach Kiefer reported he will not play on Sunday, so I'm going to assume he's not going to play. So that leaves Brandon Facyson, Tony Brown, Isaiah Rodgers. Maybe Isaiah Rodgers also popped up with a knee injury. So, you know, let's just assume Rodgers doesn't play just for the sake of this argument. Brandon Facyson.
That's your boy. I know you're ready to see him out there.
Wow, yeah. And then Tony Brown, which I haven't seen him play. I saw him play a lot in the preseason. He played last week. He filled in last week when Kenny Moore went down. I don't know. I think they may attack this side of the ball, especially if Gilmore does his thing with CeeDee Lamb. We'll see. So it'll be interesting to see how the Cowboys attack our secondary, but that'll be a matchup to watch for. I honestly think we can keep it competitive with our defense, but our offense never holds up their side of the bargain. So that's why it always just never works out for us. But, you know, one thing I think we can do. I think we can beat them on the ground.
Oh, well, before I go down that rabbit hole with you, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit, going back to what you were just talking about with the defense. Average time of possession for the Cowboys, 29 minutes, 3 seconds. Average time for the Colts, 29 minutes and 26 seconds. The biggest difference between that is the Cowboys score on almost every drive. Red zone, 69.70%. Last 3 games, Eric, they've been scoring on 80. They've scored a touchdown on over 81% of their red zones. And I think at home it's even higher. It's like 83 or 84%. So they get to the red zone, they're going to score. That's just clear. Colts don't score in the red zone, so you know that we know how that goes. But what scares me, even too, for us, or I should say, with our offense versus their defense, not only with the secondary issues, I also think that we're gonna have to watch out for Tony Pollard. Because going into the running game, like you're just saying, I think we can beat them on the ground, but Tony Pollard is a beast. He's trying to. I don't know how many years he has left on this contract with the Cowboys, but he's really trying to. I'm sure he's trying to make a name for himself so he can get signed somewhere where he can be a RB1 because he's trying to prove it this year. Zeke is hit or miss. I know they try to give Zeke the scores when they get to the red zone, but Pollard is the workhorse for them. So I really makes me nervous to see what they're going to do. If the pass game isn't so much there, they can just give the ball to Pollard.
The problem, or not the problem, I guess the problem the Cowboys give us is they do have a 1-2 punch in that backfield. It's Pollard and Zeke. Basically, because Pollard can be that explosive runner. We've seen him break off for big chunk plays. At least I've seen him in the Cowboys games I've watched. He's also sometimes probably a better runner than Zeke, but Zeke has his games as well. So they do have that combo going on back there. It's just they play off their weaknesses. So Pollard, to me, doesn't seem like he'll ever be that bell cow running back like Zeke was, you know, getting 20 to 25 carries a game. He gets fatigued a lot that I see. He's also not good in pass blocking. He's not pass blocking back. Zeke's better in that facet. So they play off each other. They use them very well. I am worried about that as well. Can we stop the run? In some games this season, we have been able to. In some games, we haven't been able to. Like against the Eagles, we could not stop Jalen Hurts. That was a problem. Against the Steelers, we had a problem stopping the run there. Benny Snell Jr., he was getting it to us. So, yeah, I'm definitely worried about that. They have some good receivers in Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, even Dalton Schultz. Dak Prescott is very serviceable. He's not a top 7, top 8 quarterback in the league, but he gets it done for them. That's basically it.
Yeah, and I kind of lost my train of thought when I was talking, but I got it back. I just remember the other thing I was going to say. I think that's going to make the difference for us, where we can potentially have the chance to contain the run, because we definitely don't think we would have shut it down. Going back to the 2 games you just mentioned against the Eagles and the Steelers, defense never got off the field. They had no time to rest. So that's another reason why we look at that. I know, of course, we spied Jalen Hurts for the first quarter, and then we kind of stopped after that. But the biggest thing I noticed with the Steelers game was defense was never off the field. So if they have to see it on the field for the majority of the game, they're not going to have a chance to rest up, and they're going to just continue to switch out back after back after back. And that's where I definitely think Pollard and Zeke can eat, because it'll just, I feel like if we start to try to crowd the box, and they'll just air the ball out. So it will be interesting to see, but offense has to be able to stay on the field longer to give defense a break, because they will underperform, and it won't be necessarily their fault that they underperform if they can't get off the field to even get a breather.
All right. Well, we'll see. They definitely need to get off the field. Like we can't just be doing these quick 3 and outs and getting them right back out there where they have to defend them for 10 to 12 plays. It's just not fair to them. So our offense needs to show up. Is that going to happen? Probably not. I was looking at the injury report. We have a lot of injuries kind of going in. Jelani Woods hasn't practiced all week. Kenny Moore, we've already talked about. Braden Smith, he's got an illness. Isaiah Rodgers was limited. I mean, these are some key players that could very well affect this game for us negatively. Kwity Paye's back. It's looking like he's practiced full, so I'm excited about that. That's definitely going to be a plus to our pass rush. But Kylan Granson looks like he's coming back, which is good, because we only had Woods and Mo Alley Cox last week. And you know how I feel about Mo Alley Cox, so Kylan Granson, I believe he's made a stride this year. Jelani Woods, of course, we've seen flashes of greatness. Mo Alley Cox, nothing. So good to see Kylan Granson back. Woods is probably going to be on the shelf this week, but it would be nice to see him back. But yeah, we got some injuries going in. You got anything to say about that, Jamal?
Yeah, the injuries suck. They do suck. I think that's going to hinder us a little bit. But to make up for those injuries, I would like to see Colts run the ball at least 32 times this game. Yes, and let me tell you why, Eric. Let me tell you why.
So you want Jonathan Taylor to get 32 carries?
I want Jonathan Taylor to get 32 carries, yes. For one, that's going to keep us on the field. He's averaging, over 4 yards a carry this season? That means every 3 runs is a first down. They're going to be on the field progressively going down the field. Yes. So I would like to see him, because last game he had 20 carries for 86 yards. It's not enough. You're still trying to throw the ball with a bell cow running back in the backfield who can produce when given the opportunity to. Even at the game we all watched on Monday night, pass wasn't working. You give it to JT, all of a sudden it goes from being 1st and 10 to 2nd and 4, 2nd and 7 to 3rd and 3. So you have to pass the ball. You have to run the ball with him. You have to utilize him, and you have to understand that Matt Ryan is still checking down to him a ton during games. So instead of wasting time checking down to him, just let him run the ball instead. Don't try to develop a pass play that we know is not going to work, because our receivers can't create separation, the line can't block long enough, and Ryan can't go through his progressions quick enough. Those 3 negatives, none of those things make a positive. So if the run is there and it's working, run the ball, make them honor it, make them crowd the box. Then after you get 4 or 5 runs on a drive and they start to stack the box, then go for play action or then decide to pass the ball. Do something like that. But we just can't sit here and watch JT have 20 carries for 86 yards and Ryan have however many throws he had last game. I don't remember, for absolutely nothing, for 199 yards, I think, or something like that. And a lot of that was just, junk garbage time that he was getting that stuff in. So when I just look at our offense, where we had 32 yards of offense the first half, and it was mainly, we could have just had the ball in JT's hands, let him do what he does best, which is run the ball. Instead, we decided to pass it and put ourselves in a bigger hole. I just would like to see at least 30 times. And also, no design runs from the shotgun. I can't watch this ugly, ugly Matt Ryan get the ball, and just hand it off to JT and let him get smoked. He's not even picking up any momentum. At least when it's a run where Matt's under center, he has a chance to take 2 steps downhill to get his speed rolling. But when you're in shotgun, he has to just stand there. Matt snaps the ball, and he stands there and he gets handed the ball, and then has to start reading through the holes to see where it's going to progress. So I don't like that.
That's one of the issues right there. You just said play design, essentially.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We're doing, shotgun handoffs right there. I started looking at some of the film. I think this is starting to come back on Parks Frazier.
Yeah.
We had some 3rd and 10s, and the receivers weren't even running over 5 yards. So I guess our expectation is them to catch the ball and get those extra 5 yards after the catch, because the play design, the receivers aren't even running past the first down marker. I don't know how you expect to move the chains with designs like that, with plays called like that. So I'm starting to think this offensive scheme is kind of holding us back. If you go look at the Steelers game, what we did in the fourth quarter, it looked ugly. It didn't look like we were executing. And I just want to point that out because I'm starting to think the lack of experience in the coaching staff is starting to catch up. And that's...
No, definitely agree. I do think that, the lack of experience is 100% showing right now, and I think it'll continue to show. But also, this is not a new mind who just walked in the building yesterday. This is the same mind who's been with Frank Reich, who Frank Reich hired on. So he's going to have some of his same principles and understanding of a playbook. So that's another reason why we're not going to see a whole lot of discrepancy. We noticed it when Brady got fired. Then we said, oh, maybe the playbook could change a little bit. A hair, maybe 1 or 2 different plays. But everything else is essentially the same pace. Wright got fired. Again, we played against the Raiders. I have to keep stressing that out. So everybody was just a little more hyped and a little more explosive. But the play calling was the exact same. Still the vanilla play calling. People were just a little more upbeat and the tempo was there. Then we get to last week's game where we just see the same thing happen again. Where, as you mentioned, as a receiver or a quarterback or anything, and we're in a 3rd and 10 situation, you have to know where the sticks are. We know our yak is not the best. Those yards at the catch. For Paris Campbell, it's really good, things like that. But we can't, why would we short ourselves 15 feet? I understand maybe running 8 yards and then expecting someone to get 6 feet. But if we're only going to run 15 feet out of the 30 we need, it's going to be hard to make that up. So I do agree. I think it's very, very elementary play calling, especially with the experience factor. But I don't expect much to change from someone who's been under the right tree where the play calling has been the same year after year after year, where it's been this exact same thing. So I think until you get a fresh mind in there who has a different perspective on how they want it run, it'll be the same thing.
Well, it's broken all around because we can say that too, but then there's not a lot to work with when you have Matt Ryan back there, who
That's very true.
has the arm strength of Eric Smith and Jamal Lawrence. He's not mobile. The play design is limited. So if we look at it from the case of Matt Ryan, so yeah, it's a really tough situation. It's a bad situation for everyone. This is why we need to go and blow it all up and which I expect to happen after a few losses. I think it will. I guess going back on, can we win on the ground? The Cowboys' run defense, they allow 4.7 yards per rush attempt. That's around Jonathan Taylor's average. So it's looking good on paper for us in that department. And, despite the fumbling issue, JT, still a top 5 running back, I still think so. Now, if he fumbles again, we might have to, I don't know.
Reevaluate life.
Yeah, he might drop out. He needs to clean up on the turnover end.
Yeah.
But that Cowboys run defense, they've been inconsistent throughout the season. So,
and the last thing I'll say about that too then is if that's the case, which I'm glad to hear that they are giving up that 4.7, because that's great for our eyes, like you mentioned, on paper. But it also means that even if they don't want to give JT 32 carries, we have to consistently give him carries. You can't go carry, throw, carry, throw, carry, throw, because you're not picking up any kind of momentum or any kind of rhythm. When you have to run one time, then pass block as a running back, or then run one time and then go run a route, you're not getting in your groove. So we really have to allow him to get into his groove. If we're gonna run it, commits running on 3 of those 4 downs, no matter what the case is. Even if it's if it's third and 10, of course I expect you to pass the ball. But if it's 3rd and 7 or shorter, or 3rd and 6 or shorter, I would like to see them still try to run the ball instead of going for the pass. Because again, I know that JT's vision will allow him to at least get to the next level as long as the line can hold an initial block. I don't know that Matt Ryan is going to be quick enough to try to stuff the ball in a tight window when Pittman is running a quick slant or Campbell's running a quick slant. I don't know that he'll be able to do it. I think he'll wait to let the play develop too long and then go for a check down where we're trying to get the ball on a swing route a yard at the line of scrimmage or a yard in front of the line of scrimmage, and then boom, we're getting hit by a backer who's walked up. So
3rd and 7, we run the ball.
Yes,
That's your
I would prefer to see that than to throw an incomplete pass and then have them 4th and 7. Yes, I 100% would. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad.
Whoa, that's got to be a hot take, because
Yeah.
you look at the average yards per attempt for a quarterback, it's probably 7 yards. Then you look at the average for a running back, it's like 4.
Mm-hmm.
Probably less, probably a little 3.7, 3.8. So you'd rather run the ball in that situation on a 3rd and 7?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, that's a new hot take. I'll leave it there. I won't argue that. Well, yeah, I think in the end, I still expect the Cowboys pass rush to just devour us.
Yeah.
I think Matt Ryan could take 10 sacks this game against arguably the best pass rush in the league. Or it just creates too much chaos, causes ill-timed throws, bad decision-making, boom, turnovers. It's going to be a long night for this offense, in my opinion. I don't see us having a remote chance of winning unless we absolutely destroy it on the ground. And we're talking like at least 150 yards on the ground from JT alone. Explosive runs, big chunk plays, give our defense a chance to limit the Cowboys' scoring potential. It's possible. It's the NFL. I mean, 32 of these teams, they're all professional players. It can always happen. But then, everything we just talked about in the past 30 minutes, it's hard to be confident going into this game on the road in prime time under this offense, under this coaching staff, under everything that has gone on this season. We have been an absolute failure. I'm still sticking to 26-13.
All right, that's fair. I'm going to stick with 34-10. I don't know how they didn't flex us out of primetime spot, especially what we have coming in. But I'm glad they didn't, because I like to see us play a little primetime action. And last but not least, I'll say this, as I said before, when Matt starts to suck it up, put Sam in and let him play. Let him get the experience, because you're simply watching the statue crumble. So why not go ahead and let a young man in there and let him try a little something for the game, especially if we're going to lose. What else? What does it matter? What does it matter at that point? What does it matter? You want to watch Matt Ryan? I'm not going to do this. You want to watch Matt Ryan go 22 for 33 and throw 199 yards again, then let him stay in there the entire game. But if you want to see at least a sliver of hope, or let someone who's only had one opportunity or two opportunities, one against the Commanders and one against a Patriots defense who Bill Belichick loves to cook up young quarterbacks, then let Sam sit on the bench. But if you want just maybe a little more hope and a little more hypeness, let him get in if Matt starts sucking up. And that's the end of my conversation.
I don't mind if they put Sam Ehlinger in. Could provide a spark to the offense, but you're throwing him to the Sharks at that point.
Yeah, you are. But I'd rather him get thrown to the Sharks and him have at least a little fun and you know, maybe a little hope out there than to let Matt just sit out there and do nothing.
If I'm Sam Ehlinger, I'm putting my hoodie on. I'm not about to have Micah Parsons coming full speed into my face. That's going to be it for us, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We're live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. We'll be back probably on Monday.
Yeah.
On Monday. You know, Sunday night, we got a lot to watch. But we'll be back for you guys Monday for another episode, another Indianapolis Colts Cast episode.
Oh yeah.
Y'all have a good weekend.
Take care.